Illegal immigration has been ignored for so long that it has grown out of control and become a useful resource for both clever politicians and opportunistic businesses. The pros are far outweighed by the cons, although you would have a difficult time getting people to admit that. The propaganda has been strong, convincing people that illegals are more important than their own fellow citizens. After all, the hardworking illegals are willing to do the jobs we aren't willing to do. At least that's the uninformed and, to be frank, smug and condescending argument that you hear from some people like Senator Dianne Feinstein of California.
It would cripple agriculture if they didn't have the people coming in to do this work. And what we have found is Americans will not do this kind of stoop labor in 100 degrees temperature. So you would have a severe crippling.
There seems to be a clear contempt for citizens, the people for which make up this great nation that we inhabit. Politicians represent businesses that want cheap labor that is impossible if they were forced to pay all of their workers minimum wage. On top of that, these illegal amnesty advocates need a dedicated voting base, and there is no easier and dishonest way of doing this than to bring in new people with the intention of forcing them to rely on government benefits. This way, they will be forced to continue to vote for the people that support the government benefits that they depend on. People who are dependent on social benefits are likely not going to be starting any small business themselves anytime soon, and so this is also beneficial to big business. Illegals, at least in California, are eligible for unemployment benefits, driver's licenses, free healthcare, and even free tuition in a lot of cases. These are benefits that are not given to citizens, the very people who are paying for these services. People should not be getting benefits that they are not paying into, meaning people working under the table due to their immigration status. This article from August reports that Los Angeles paid $1.3 billion specifically in welfare payouts to illegal immigrants over the course of 2015 and 2016. That is $1.3 billion of taxpayer money that did not go to benefit the citizens that provided the funds. For the record, I am not against immigration that is regulated and kept to a minimal to bring in the best of other parts of the world. First and foremost, this should be benefiting our citizens. What I am against is somebody illegally getting here, disregarding our laws, essentially pushing their way to the front of the line. It shows no respect for our laws, for our fellow citizens, or of the legal immigrants who were respectful enough to obtain their citizenship properly. People who have been here illegally for years have a duty to dedicate themselves to a path to citizenship, not when it becomes easy, but immediately, especially if they plan on staying here. The government is not your parent or caregiver, nor should it be. This isn't to say that illegals work for dirt cheap, but they do work for cheaper, and in some cases are able to obtain professional licenses to work as a doctor or as a lawyer. As Steven Crowder demonstrated earlier this year, you can make a decent living standing on the corner at a Home Depot.
How much of that you paying taxes? I'm joking, bro. I don't pay nothing. $100 a piece?
Yeah.
A piece? We got two. We'll do for 90. 85. 85? We'll do 75, bro.
It's not like that.
70?
Yeah.
All day?
Yeah,
65. It's better than minimum wage. We'll do 65.
60?
Okay. 60, bro.
60.
Fucking get in the back. 60 bucks. 100 for 6 hours, we'll take it. We'll take it. I got kids at home, bro. I'll do 60.
There are millions of American citizens that are unemployed, and there should be more concern with putting them to work than finding somebody else who is willing to work for less. There should also be more concern over the hundreds of thousands of Americans affected by the opioid epidemic, something else that has been brushed off and disregarded by the mainstream media. There is near silence, sometimes even mockery, about this issue from left-wing propagandist late-night TV shows like Colbert. When an illegal immigrant in a sanctuary city commits a crime, do they face the same punishment that a citizen would face? Would O.J. Simpson have been able to convince anyone that a gun fired itself? If convicted, do these now felons face a longer prison sentence or a shorter one? These are just a few questions that I would like you to ask yourself the next time a DUI or perhaps a tragic event happens to an average citizen. Are there any consequences for local governments refusing to obey federal immigration laws, presumably to maintain their political quotas? Are there any consequences for the individual for disregarding our border laws and illegally crossing into the country? They are technically trespassing on national property. Is there no consequence to that? If there isn't, There is no reason why opportunists would not exploit our leniency on border security and illegal immigration for their own gain, whether they be a politician seeking to inflate their approval rating, a business trying to get cheap labor, or a gang trafficking drugs, all with minimal, if any, consequences.